I think we're recording now. This is an attempt to make a series of videos explaining the 12 laws that are derived from the principles of karma. Karma is taken from the mindfulness tradition of psychology and philosophy. Karma is about the mind's laws of cause and effect, and have little to do with what comes around and goes around. They actually provide a profound psychology of how the mind works and what to expect by the choices one makes. These laws have been modified into what can be considered mental health laws, laws of health, happiness, and peace of mind, if they are followed. But first they must be understood, completely understood. They can lead to increasing levels of health, happiness, and peace of mind. The laws actually represent 12 parts of one great law. So all 12 parts have to be applied simultaneously, for they work together. They must be applied at the same time, all the time, and consistently. To do this requires a mind that is focused and calm and can stay in the present moment. It requires a mind that knows what is being added each moment and what already is stored in the mind. Because of this, the mind has to be trained in mindfulness. Mindfulness is part of the experiencing mode of the mind, the part of the mind that just accepts, allows what is happening in the present moment without changing it, comparing it, controlling it, or expecting anything from it. It's just a mirror reflection of what is. We are mindful all the time. You are mindful this very second. However, as soon as you are mindful, your mind in a microsecond begins to think, and when it thinks, it judges based on past, future expectations and emotional reactions. You begin to compare, you begin to expect, you control, you change. In doing this, you distort the reality of a situation. The easiest way to become mindful is to learn to extend it by focusing on one thing, and when one does that, one is in fact doing mindfulness-based meditation. There are many helpful side effects to meditation, and many uses for it, but its basic purpose is to explore the mind, investigate it, your unique mind, to understand it better. And in this approach, to use it to apply the 12 laws. We will use 3 forms of meditation. Concentrative meditation, which calms you down. Contemplative meditation, which investigates by using logic. And formal insight placement, mindfulness-based meditation, which lets go of logic and formal thinking to just experience what is as it is using extended and sustained mindfulness. This last type is the most difficult to do because our mind likes to think and move out of the present, and because it is part of the experiencing mode of the mind, which must be experienced to be understood. Let us go over briefly the 12 laws. I have renamed these laws according to the use and their functionality. Law 1 is the law of consequence. It states that what you do has a consequence that returns back to you. It's based on that every choice is in fact a cause that has an effect. The effect goes outward towards where you are directing it, but comes back towards you. Like throwing a stone in a pond, the waves go outward but return back to the sender. So if you send out helpful ideas, feelings, beliefs, that's what's going to return back to you. Vice versa, if you send out harmful ones, that's what will return back to you. If there's a delay in getting back what you send out, the power of that will be increased by time. For example, you may have a very minor, harmful thought you think towards someone who insults you. And a year later, you're in a dreadful accident and harm befalls you. It really is not quite that simple in terms of one-on-one happening, because there are multiple causations coming together at one point. But like drops in water in a glass, finally the glass overflows from too much of this or that. Too much helpfulness will bring more help. Too much harmfulness will bring harm. Law 2 is the law of attraction. What this means is that we don't get what we want. We get what we store in our mind and is attracted to it. If you spend a lot of time thinking, watching, experiencing violence, hostility, aggression, that is what is stored in your mind, and that's what will be attracted to it in terms of thoughts, feelings, beliefs, physical signs and symptoms, and situations. Do the opposite with helpful, kind, and gentle things, and that's what you will attract. The basic rule here with this law is create in yourself, or this is also called the law of creation, what you want to attract, and it will come to you. If you want happiness and love and truth, create those things within you, and they will be attracted to you like a magnet. Think of anxiety and depression and anger. That's what will be attracted to you. Law 3 is the law of avoidance. What you avoid does not go away. It persists, and the power in it just grows, gets bigger and harder to deal with. For example, you have a frustrated feeling, a harmful thought. You don't want to deal with the painfulness of those emotions, so you pretend they don't exist. You deny their existence. However, the energy of these feelings do not go away. They store up in the mind to attract the same. The same can be said for helpfulness or gentleness or kindness. If you see a beggar on the street and wish him kindness in your mind without even saying anything or doing anything, that kind of kindness stores up in your mind, that kind of generosity stores up your mind, and it will, according to law 2, attract the same. Whenever you are doing a positive, you are avoiding a negative. When you are doing a negative, you are avoiding a positive. Two sides of the same coin. Many of our problems are due to the fact that as soon as we feel something unpleasant, we avoid to think about it, feel it, to deal with it in the present moment. And thus it accumulates. And according to law 2, it then attracts more of the same. Law 4 is the law of self-adjustment. Things grow from the inside out, not from the outside in. If you want to make a change that is helpful and lasting, you need to do it by working on the inner you of feelings, beliefs, thoughts, your goals, your expectations, your intentions are perhaps the most crucial thing. Every choice has at least three parts. One, it is driven. These could also be called the 3Ds, driven, directives, and direction. It is driven by feelings, liking, not liking, neutral feelings. The directives are beliefs. Within our beliefs are intentions, expectations, and goals. If all three of these are moving in the direction, the motivation of helpfulness, you will be helped. If any one of them is moving towards the direction of harm or destructiveness, harm will occur, and according to law 1 will return back to you. Law 5 is the law of mirrors. This is a complicated law consisting of 7 mirrors. What it means generally is that what happens in the outside world, what happens in our inside world away from our mind, is a mirror reflection of what is going on in our mind. For example, if something really bothers you in the outside world, so somebody irritates you, it's because you have that irritation, that energy of irritation within you, and it is being like a mirror reflected back to you. These bothersome thoughts, feelings, intentions, body sensations mean something needs to be changed within us if we are going to have long-term health, happiness, and peace of mind. There are 7 sub-mirrors. Mirror 1 is the mirror of presence. One looks in the mirror and sees what is in the present. Our mind likes to move from the present to the past or the future, but the reflection in the present is what is. Mirror 2 is the mirror of acceptance. We must accept what we see in the mirror. But in fact, we judge it based on our feelings, our past experience, and our future expectations, and change the reality of it. The mirror does not lie, but our feelings, our beliefs change and distort what the mirror is reflecting. So we must accept without judgment. Mirror 3 is the mirror of gain. Accepting the present are 2 choices that are correct. This gains energy. Incorrect choices lose energy, and correct choices gain energy. Mirror number 4 is the mirror of self-love. This energy gained, the information gained from looking into the mirror should be directed towards the inner self to make those self-adjustments we need for lasting helpfulness for ourselves, for others, and all things. The next mirror is the mirror of creation. We take the information we get by looking in the mirrors and create a better life for ourselves, for others, for all of our connections, to others in the outside world, to our inner self, to our body, to our emotions, to our thoughts, our beliefs, and our attentions. The next mirror is the mirror of unification. Many of our problems are due to the fact that we fragment reality. We break it apart. We take what is meant to be whole and we cut it up. We disconnect what should stay connected. We need to reunify these pieces we have broken apart. For example, you may get a headache. It's a frustration headache. Your boss, your teacher bothers you. You have angry feelings. The physical sensation is the pain. Your emotions are that of frustration. Your thoughts are you should avoid the pain. You shouldn't have negative thoughts toward your boss or teacher. In fact, when you do this, you fragment, you break apart this, what I call a bet complex, a body sensation, emotion, and thought that are meant to be staying together. And head pain will persist. The negative thoughts will persist. If you bring them together, there will be a useful amount of energy expended and the pain will diminish. The last mirror is the mirror of compassion. Again, we avoid many things because we do not want to feel the pain associated with living. By our very natures, where there is pleasure, there is pain. Where there is life, there is death. Where there is growth, there is lack of growth. Everything has itself and its opposite that is created. We must do what we can to share that which is helpful, but when we see and feel pain, we must empathize with it with compassion, do what we can to alleviate it in ourselves and others and the conditions that cause it. Law 6 is the law of connectivity. What it states is that everything is connected and works together. Everything in our mind, everything in our body, everything about us is connected and works together. We are connected beings. Our bodies are connected to our minds connected to our bodies. Our minds are connected to other people's minds. In fact, we come from 3 basic sources. Our body-brain source, our biology, our connections with others and the outside world, our connection with the elements of the outside world itself and our roles we play in it. Everything converges on the mind and the choices we make. Think of yourself as a stool with 3 legs. A stool will not be very stable with only 1 leg or 2 legs, or one if all the legs are not equally treated or of equal size. 1 leg is your body and brain. Another leg are your relationship with others. Another leg is your connections with the outside world itself, and the roles you play in the outside world. The top of the stool is your mind, where all the legs come together. Your mind connects the top of the stool with other people's minds in a giant web of connectedness. This connectedness occurs between people, between things in the outside world, and within ourselves. Connections are infinite in their quality and quantity. Law 7 is the law of single focus. The mind can only do one thing at a time. That is, have a single focus in motivation and direction. We think we could multitask. We don't. The mind probably moves even faster than the speed of light and gives the impression we're doing many things at once, when in fact the mind's only focused on one thing at a time, with one motivation and one direction. We like having multiple motivations, multiple directions. I love you, I hate you, I'll go up, I'll go down. But in fact, we can only go in one direction, with either being helpful or harmful in any one split second. This is the source of much of our fragmentation, where we break focus with something we need to sustain attention to. Anything you focus on long enough with a single intention, a single belief, a single motivation and direction, and concentrate on it, use all the powers of your mind, both thinking and experiential, and the problem will get better if not solved. But this takes mindfulness extended by meditation to develop such a strong and resilient mind. Law 8 is the law of proof. Sooner or later, life will call on you to prove your beliefs correct and helpful, or harmful and false. Then you must be willing, in a hospitable manner, to share what you've learned with others, so they could learn from the consequences that you have had. Law 9 is the law of presence, the law on which mindfulness is based. Time is a floating present. We conceptually divide it into past and future, but it is one flow of time that we can only relate to in the present. This presence